hello, Mr. Ian Boddy. You're here at Synthfest again, and I wanted to talk to you for ages. I mean, we did an interview with you at Cymru Beats, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
Where you were performing with Nigel Mulaney.
That's correct.
And you brought a couple of things along here, and stuff for your new label, and your new release, rather, Tone Signs.
Yes, right, yeah.
So let's talk. What are you showing?
Well, the main instrument I'm showing is the Folk Tech Resonant Garden, which is the latest thing I've bought. It's a beautiful thing. It actually looks like a piece of art. It's basically got pickups in here, so when I hit, stroke, tap the strings, so you can hear the sound there. And then there's 3 effects. The 2 outer ones have the same effects, the middle one's got different effects. You select the effects by pressing on here.
It's quite out there, isn't it?
It's quite out there, but what I like, it behaves like a musical instrument. A lot of these things, you get a tangle of wires, they're great, but sometimes it's hard to get a consistent musical experience. With this, you can do some really cool things. One of the things is using the old bow, where you can just put a bit of feedback up here. So
all these effects are internal?
Yes. So what I've got here is a long digital delay on the first one, a sort of pitch shifting reverb in the middle, and then a long cloud reverb at the end. You've got 2 controls for each one, which you can externally control by the modular mix control, kind of like a low pass filter. And then the clock isn't a step clock, it's the rate of the DSP. So for example, if I turn those 2 off, that was with
I'm pretty sure we saw one of the other performers at Cymru Boots had one of these.
I think you did, yeah.
Is that where you first heard about it, or have you?
No, I didn't hear about it then. It's the kind of thing you come across it on the internet, and I like to buy instruments that are just a little bit out of the, a lot of these people buy the same things.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit perverse. I like to buy things that nobody else has.
You're contrary.
Like, yeah, you could say like the Ons motor controller that I've got, like you saw at the Cymru Beats, the analog systems, the Ons motor keyboard controller, the French connection. Not many people have got that, and by having that when I play live, it just gives me maybe perhaps a bit of more of a unique voice. It's also a visual thing. Yeah. When you're playing live on stage, it's nice for the audience to see you physically doing something. So when I actually tap or bow that, there's a direct feedback from what you see me visually doing and what comes out with the sound. You can also put external sounds through, so I've got a little patch here using various modules, simple little sequence on pressure points, going through a quantizer, a bit of random things come from this module here, and if I put up the volume, I can actually play that through here as well. And I can kind of touch one of these, and I can kind of hand change the notes, and then I can play over the top of that. I probably won't bother some tune though.
Yeah, how do you tune this thing? Do you have to snip the wires?
No, I think, well, what you do, you grip the wire where you want to tune it. So if I turn that off, if I take one of the long wires and grip it tight between my fingers there, down here, so it's a higher pitch, a shorter strings, a higher pitch, a longer strings, just like on a guitar, I guess.
So I'm sure a lot of people want to know what brand of rosin you're using on your system.
I've got it somewhere. Yeah, I bought that. I've got it somewhere. It's packed in my little case of strange things to take to a modular Synthfest. Is a little cube of rosin.
So this, I'm going to try and make a link here now, because I mean this is a very beautiful and ambient electronic landscape that's sort of improvised, but you also run Din Records as well as have a massive output of electronic music yourself. Tell us about Din and the latest release.
Well, Din's been going since 1999, so it's almost up to 60 discs out now. So there tend to be things like the Node album here, or there's Arc album, some of the collaborations I do, ambient electronica, for want of a better description. But I guess what we should focus on here is the Tone Science albums. I've obviously been using modular synths for a long time, since like 1978 or whatever, and it was interesting. In the 90s, they almost vanished. People were throwing them into skips and things, but I've continued to use those, and it's been really nice the last few years, this explosion in interest in modular synths.
People are caught up with you, right?
Well, but I thought, well, I've got DIN, it would be nice to be able to put out and curate compilations of albums where I invite modular synth artists who I know or like or have come across, and I want to curate them into a compilation album, but the music's the most important thing. There's so many little clips and demos on YouTube, but I wanted it to be a musical CD.
I was going to say, really, I mean, how's your luck in finding people with modulars who finish stuff then?
Well, I mean, there's people like Scanner on there, Chris Carter from Throbbing Gristle. These are professional guys.
Yeah,
so
no,
you
being
know,
facetious,
but yes,
but
you're right. I obviously get asked. A lot of people say, "Can we be on these releases?" And I have to be very careful that I curate and choose the people I know and trust will produce a piece of music, and then it's my job to get the order of the tracks so they all kind of flow into a musical release. The first one was out about 6 months ago, and the second one, Tone Science module number 2, Elements and Particles, is out today.
And now, kids, you can buy it.
You can buy it on.
That's interesting. So, I mean, when you're compiling them, because in modular world, people aren't always that concerned about 440 or it being in any particular key. I mean, does that present any challenges when going between tracks?
The pitching doesn't, because I don't segue the tracks. The tracks have individual tracks, but stylistically, I give people guidelines. The only things I'm not really looking for is a full-out dance style. I'm not really after 4 on the floor techno stuff.
Yeah.
That's great. That's got its own marketplace. That's not what I'm doing on here. It tends to be more in the ambient side of things, although there is drums and rhythms on there. Chris Carter's got loads of kind of dubby kind of bass things going on, and he's kind of style of drums using his crystallizer sound. Nathan Moody on this one's got quite a grungy buckler sound. That's got drums on, but it's never in your full kind of techno thing. I guess I've done a lot of these things over a number of years, and I've just got the experience to know kind of who to ask, and I kind of know, and I never quite know how it's going to work out, but I only ask a certain number of people at a time, and the jigsaw puzzle pieces arrive, and it's my job to put the jigsaw pieces together to form a musical whole.
So, I mean, going back to, I mean, you were saying you'd been using modular since the 70s. I mean, where did you start in terms of instrumentation?
I started in Newcastle upon Tyne whilst I was at university in an amazing place called Spectro Arts Workshop, which I wish there was more of these days. It was an open arts access workshop. I walked in there, they had 2 VCS3s, an AKS, Revox tape machines coming out of your ears. The first thing I ever learned was a VCS3. So trust me, if you can learn to play that, anything else is easy.
Yeah.
And then in the early 80s, I bought a Roland System 100M, which is quite nice because recently I did a little YouTube video of that, and the Roland guys asked me to do some work on the Roland System 500.
They sound good, don't they?
And it was nice having the System 100M, they sound great. It's not exactly the same, but it's close enough to kind of have that vibe. I've always found the 100M to be very easy modular synth to use, the way it's laid out, and you've got your inputs at the top, your modulation at the bottom, and a nice clear space.
So that's another interesting thing. I mean, are you one of these guys, because I know a lot of modular artists, they reconfigure their systems regularly to almost challenge themselves to come up, it changes the sort of output that they come up with. Do you do the same sort of thing? Or?
Not so much, because it's a pain in the arse to do, to be honest.
Yeah, frankly.
But I mean, something like this, I've rearranged this as a small rig. I didn't want to bring too much over here. The folk tech's the main thing, and of course I'm promoting DIN, so I've got a small rig here. The Roland 510, there's one VCO from there. Braid's got a second VCO. Pressure Pointer doing a very simple sequence, but the Brains is doing random. You'll probably see the randomness from Marbles here is making the change direction sometimes. I've got 4 envelopes over here. I'm creating a very simple patch which is going into the folk tech. and then it's been mixed. The Roland 531's great. I got my stuff mixed. I got a little Tip Top one playing samples I've mixed. Nigel's really nice rig over here. It's coming into here.
So did you build that for this purpose?
Yeah, this specific rig is just a nice, simple. I can carry it nice and easy.
I guess the other thing, because you play live a lot as well.
I play live a lot.
When you're playing live, are you trying to recreate the material, or are you trying to create a patch?
I do a bit of both, and it depends where I'm playing. I'm playing a concert at Philadelphia in a couple of weeks' time. That's an audience who are sitting down in a church. So I'll be doing some of the tracks off this album here, and As Above So Below. I'll be trying to do live versions of that, but there's always elements of improvisation. The solos are never the same twice, and the modular bits that I use are never the same twice. But when I play the Cymru beats, which you mentioned before, and Nigel and I played at Liverpool last year, that was very improvised. The leads, it depends. I'll build a patch which has got different options. I've got different things I can do, and I'll react to what Nigel's doing, and vice versa. And you get those magic times. The last gig with Nigel, he was doing the drums, and there was a bit where you had this lovely snare came in, and at the same time, I just happened to have an LFO doing a really old school VCS3, and I hadn't played it in time with the snare, and it just was a perfect point where live, that'll never happen again. But that's actually quite cool. I like the fact it'll never happen again.
So is that something that you also, the mercurial nature of working in a lot of electronic music, some electronic music is memory based and recall and stuff.
I do work for TV, film and documentaries. I have to use a computer, I have to use soft synths, I have to be able to recall every minute detail in case the guys want a remix of the stems. I work in that world as well. But the passion for this stuff, I like the fact when I do a performance, it'll never be exactly the same twice. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to have. So, when you're creating your own tracks in modular, is it just like, okay, here's one, is that good, or then you just have another run? Or do you just?
I usually have a musical idea. I've got a lovely big Surge system at home, which is wonderful to compose on, and I'll usually have a musical idea. I'll know whether it's going to have a rhythm or sequence. I often work in a certain key. I'll work out a mode in advance. I'll say, okay, I'm only going to use a diminished scale, for example. C, E flat, G flat, A. It's a nice scale, four notes, four oscillators. I'll get them to fade in and out. So I'll have a musical idea, and I'll design the patch to bring forth what I want to say with that musical idea. I must stress, for me, the music's always the most important thing. You can have all the modules in the world, but if you don't have an idea what you want to do,
I think you're right. Because your stuff has a melodic content, which I think
sometimes it has a melodic aspect. Other times it might be quite experimental. It just depends.
Ian, thank you very much for talking to us.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Nick.